Okay, I think I've pushed the buttons. I think I've set the stage here. I've turned up all the sliders, okay? Dialed the knobs. I think we're good. I think we're live. I think everyone can see me. I think everyone can hear me. Ketamine, nice to see you. Welcome. Testicle Johnson, you are the first in my kick chat. Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you, Sam. Yeah, we got some great people coming in. They're going to be here at 8. I wanted to go live a little early, though, because I was just sitting here. I usually go live at 6. So I've been eating, doing some other things, and I was bored, so I went live a little early. So, hey, gang, nice to see ya. Oh, man, are you guys excited for the debate tonight? Are you pumped? Are you ready? Biden versus Trump, an epic showdown. Well, I don't know if it's going to be epic. Like, I'm not sure how this is going to go, to be honest. But I think there's some pretty high stakes coming in here. I do. I really do. Like, a lot of people say, oh, debates don't move the needle. Oh, debates don't really matter, especially in modern politics. It just doesn't affect anything. I call bullshit. I think that's wrong. And I think it's especially wrong tonight, especially because of some of the criticisms given to Biden and Trump. I think that this is a good opportunity for Biden to put to bed some of the rumors and some of the concerns people have about his ability, his cognizance, his age. I think he's got a lot riding on this. Now, it could go terrible for him. If he has an episode or something happens. I don't know how he recovers from that. I really don't. I think it might be possible, but that lives on in everyone's memory, right? It's going to be clipped. It's going to be shown from now till election day. Sam says, hopefully we'll get another. Will you just shut up, man? Yeah, hopefully we will. Like, if Biden can perform at the level he did, or even close to the level he did during the State of the Union address, I think that he'll do fine. He'll do great. In fact, I think he will do exactly what he needs to do. He needs to perform at that level. He needs to be the president that we saw at the State of the Union address. He needs to be with it. He needs to be clever. He needs to be on it. He does. He can't afford not to. He just can't. For Trump's part, well, obviously Trump can't freeze up. He can't forget things. But he has a smaller bar to clear here. People will forgive Trump a lot. There's a very big double standard here when it comes to how people are viewed or how both candidates are viewed. They're pretty much the same age. I think they're 3 years apart. They're both old. But for whatever reason, Trump gets a pass on his gaffes. I think it's because he's more manic and it looks like energy, but it's kind of just dementia. I'm not sure. But we'll see, right? We'll see. I think for his part, he needs to not be an asshole. And I don't think he can, right? He needs to look a little, at least somewhat presidential. And he can't let Biden get to him. If he goes aggro, I think it'll be great for his base, but no one else will like that. And so, yeah. Well, we had one of our guests here backstage for a moment. I don't know where she went. Give me 1 second. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, here's one. Here we go. Here's one of the stars of the show tonight. Hello.
How you doing?
We are live, by the way, so people can see or hear us.
Good.
So just
I got you.
letting you know. Gang, just while he adjusts and while he gets his camera ready and things, let me just assure you that we are going to be joined throughout the night by various guests, various people. For the pre-show today, we're going to have Gibbs, Lactoid will be joining us, Daniela will be coming in, We might have a few more. We'll see if they show up or not. But we have a solid political lineup tonight. For the debate itself, Econoboy will be joining us. All the people I mentioned previously will also be here. And we will be joined by Sansol as well, who will be helping us stream it. And then for the after show, Adam Mockler will be making an appearance, and that should be fun. So that'll be great. We got lots of content for you guys tonight. We are going to be watching this live. When we do go to watch the actual debate, we are going to be switching to Kick. I'll provide the links to you all, but CNN's really heavy-handed with the copyright. I don't want to risk my channels that make me money, right? So when the debate actually starts, we are going to switch to Kick exclusively for that. So when we get closer to time, I'll provide you the links, gang. Don't worry, we'll get it. Hello, you're live, by the way. So don't say any gamer words or anything. Uh-oh.
I was just watching a live react to somebody live reacting to Wick. It was pretty entertaining.
Who's live reacting to me?
Who do you think?
Oh, my biggest fan? Okay.
And they guess what? I know I got to them because guess what? Their shirt's a different color today.
Daniela, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we have
Awesome.
audio connection. We can't see you yet, but we can
How do
hear
I?
you.
Okay, let me figure this out. How do I attach or get my camera started here?
You should just click the turn on camera button. It should
Oh,
be.
never mind. That's simple. Okay, we figured it out.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I didn't know how I didn't know how to idiot proof this, right? Like I could just you just hit the button that says on. How you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm glad to be back on. It's gonna be great.
Are you? Do you think? What? Okay, let me get an early read for you guys.
Yes.
Again, we don't know how this is gonna go. We know CNN is moderating it. There are 2 moderators, I believe. There will be, and they both have agreed to no audience, so there's no live audience. There also will be a mute button, so the moderators will be able to mute either Biden or Trump if they go over time. So I guess my initial question to both of you is, who do you think's favored to win tonight? And what does that even mean? What does winning mean for these people? I want to hear from Gibbs first, and we'll go to Daniela.
Well, unlike the Trump camp, I hope that Biden shows up fully adding up because that's the only way he's got a chance at winning. I think that winning is going to look like who gets the best one-liners. Really, I know it's sad in a presidential election that's how we're going to determine it, but we've kind of reached the reality show point in our political cycle. It seems like. I think Trump's going to also. One other thing is Trump can do is if he can make it if he's losing to where it seems like it's a moderator issue. I think that he'll do well in that regard. But if he makes it seem like Biden, like he's complaining about something Biden said, and then he gets moderated out, then I think that's going to look bad. I think there's going to be a fine line he's going to have to walk. I think winning overall looks like that for Trump. I think with Biden, his goal should just be to survive, and if he survives, then he's won.
Survives, he won. That's a pretty low bar. If he doesn't pass out on stage, what does that mean?
Yeah, or wander off like a Roomba. I mean, like, standing for an hour and a half has got to be really hard for a man with dementia at the age of 87 or whatever he is now. So, I mean, I'm going to take that as a moral victory. And I know the Democrats have been telling me, you've told me this, many others, it's not necessarily Biden himself. It's the people he surrounds himself with that are really the key factors. So, like, that's really all he's got to do is stand up and live long enough for the Democrats to put him in a wheelchair and roll him out of there and have Kamala actually run the day-to-day.
Okay. Daniela, what's your read on these things? What does Trump need to do, and what does Biden need to do? Go ahead.
Trump needs to learn how to shut up when it's appropriate. Last time they had a debate, they did kind of get into not a screaming match, but from what I remember, kind of like a shouting match. I think Trump is more poised to win because he is more animated, frankly. He does seem to be in a healthier spot. Winning, in my opinion, I think for the average American looks like just someone that has a little bit more reason, but more so is more controlled in their approach. So if Trump knows how to reel back his charisma, I think he will come out looking better. But I don't know. I don't know what they have. Biden may be more successful in this one. I don't know. I think Biden is has more decorum in his approach, which makes him look more like it's just a bit more acceptable, I think, to the average American. But I think Trump is more animated, and I think that also gets more people excited. So I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty close. If Trump can control himself, I think he may look a little better in this one, but
I
we'll
guess we'll
see.
see. For me, as I was telling the audience before you lovely individuals came in, uh, Biden, if he can perform as he did at the State of the Union, I think he takes the W.
Mm.
If he's as animated as he was then, if he was as a, excuse me, maybe I have to mention. I'm blurring my words here. If he can be as coherent and as concise as he was during the State of the Union, I think that puts to bed a lot of the population's fears over his age issues and his cognizance issues. However, if he can't do that, if there is moments where he's freezing up, where he looks tired, where he doesn't look like he's there, I think that that's all she wrote. I think that that's going to be a millstone around his neck for the rest of the campaign. Um,
Yeah.
on Trump's side, Trump just has to not be an asshole. If he comes
Yeah.
off way too aggressive, if he comes off as simply attacking everyone and everything, if he goes after like I disagree with Gibbs on this. I think if he excessively goes after the moderators and things like that,
Mm.
I think that's an L as well. Like I
Mm.
think it looks like he's just being a whiny little bitch. Excuse the
And
French, right?
I hate to break it to you, but I have some breaking news that is not relevant to this, but it is relevant to previous Wick streams. And that I can confirm right now. You remember how we talked about Mel on the your stream with Claw and Meg a while back?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I try to
I
dump those memories, honestly.
Anyway, I just got off the phone with her. Took a phone call from her. Meg's dog is in Mel's name, and currently Meg and Claw are both locked up in a mental institution right now because they were found
What?
wandering the streets of Las Vegas. So I thought we'd just throw that news out there, let everybody take that information as it may. Anyway, sorry to derail for the president's debate, but I feel like that pretty
I
much proves everything I
look,
said correct.
I hope they're okay. I'm not gonna lie. What? So
Yeah,
they
they,
got institutionalized?
yeah, and I guess
Okay.
their mom, Claw's mom, has to fly to Vegas to get them out right now, is what I was just told.
Nothing to do with the debates, but good to know. But yeah, what would do you want to respond though to the moderator attack issues? Like I don't know if you heard me. I don't know if you're on the phone or
Yeah,
anything.
I heard you.
Okay, go ahead.
As for the moderator attack issues, I think that is a real concern. I don't think CNN's as bad as like MSNBC has been previously with this with Trump, but I think they will. It is a real concern. I think especially for Trump. I think as long as they let him speak and don't come like seem outright biased, there's a real concern. And I got off the phone with my mom and a few other like what I would call like the traditional older like normie conservatives of today, and every single one of them thought the issue that they saw with the presidential debate, but I can't even talk presidential debate, is going to be that the moderators are going to silence Trump while empowering Biden, and even if Biden wants to go on and doesn't follow what is it, this color coded light rules pattern they got going on with the red and yellow, that they'll let Biden get away with that while Trump does it. They're going to like heavy hand and thing. And I think that that would be a win for Trump if they do that because it's going to be able to look and say, look, I told you so. It's all rigged against me. As opposed to like if he's like whining about it. I think that there's like a fine line he
Do
needs
you
to
think
walk.
that's what do you think that's going to happen? Do you think that the moderators are going to go in and put their thumb on the scale for Trump in this?
I,
Or I'm
I think
sorry,
it's a real
for Biden. My bad. Yeah.
like yeah, like to help Biden out. Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance, significant chance it could happen.
What about you, Daniela? What are your thoughts
I
here?
I agree with him. If I know, is Jake Tapper the moderator? Who is that correct?
Let me. I'm pretty
I
sure
think
it's Tapper, and I don't know the second one off the
I
top of my
don't know. I
head.
don't
I should.
remember the
Yeah.
second one either.
Unfortunately,
But if it's, I mean, if it's people like Tapper, well, it's CNN, right? So, I think
Dana
Gibbs is
Bash.
right.
Sorry, Trapper and
Dana,
Tapper and Dana Bash are the two.
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think there's greater chance with that. I mean, CNN has a history of that. Again, if Trump just knows how to control himself, I think it'll happen far less. I also think that CNN is probably less wanting to look less trigger happy when it comes to silencing too. Especially with with the past, they're trying maybe to rectify themselves. At least I'm hoping. So if Trump does control himself a little bit, that I think there's less chance for that to happen.
So I moderate a lot of shows, right?
Mhm.
One of the things that I am very careful about when I have someone on who is on my side, so to speak, who I traditionally agree with, who it looks like I would be in favor of, to anyone who knows me or anyone who knows my content, one of the things I do to err on the side of caution is I tend to be heavier handed on the people who agree with me, just so that there is no um, even illusion that I am being playing favorites. I think that the most likely thing that is going to happen tonight is that CNN moderators Dana Bash and Tapper are going to overcorrect. I think that at least at first they are going to overcorrect. They're going to make an effort to show that they are unbiased because I think that they have some skin in the game here. If they look biased, I think that they lose a lot of prestige and I
Mhm.
think they lose a lot of their ability to be listened to going forward. Now, again, this might be something where you guys are entirely correct. There's a school of journalism out there that doesn't care about integrity, unfortunately, and they'll just do whatever it takes to get their side to win. But I think that when it comes to CNN, at least they at least like the illusion or veneer
Well, do you
of
have a concern with
unbiasedness.
this? Wick, they said I mean but no, I was watching they said earlier when I was reading something it was like like one of these analysts of the debate thing and they were saying basically that CNN has vowed that they are going to fact check Trump as the debates go on and
What
I'm
does
not
that look
sure
like?
that's what I want to know. Is it fact checking both candidates, or and like what does that look like? Is it going to be a biased version of fact checking where they're like, "Oh, look, the economy is doing good," like Biden, and then they list all the Biden style like things where the economy is good, and then ignore all the bad parts of the economy. Like we've talked before, like housing and food prices, inflation. And then people will be like, "Oh, but jobs." Like, what is the fact checking going to look like? And I'm only using that because I'm a biased motherfucker, and I want to point out the side. But like, what would Trump's look like? Like I'm trying to think like what is this fact checking going to look like? That's a little bit of a concern I have as well.
What are your thoughts on the fact checking portion of things, Danielle?
I'm excited to see what that's gonna look like too. I think it's a good addition. I think it's going to make it's gonna make it way more interesting. Um, then again, if the I do wonder, I mean, how are they gonna get that information or what sources of information they're gonna use? Although I think I'm actually glad they're implementing that. I think it's gonna make it far more interesting.
Like, I think one of the better additions to Twitter has been the community notes. So if it's
Oh, I hate the community
you hate
notes
the community notes, why do you hate the community notes? I love them.
because they're just like well, I mean, even after Elon has taken over, they still seem somewhat biased. If I have to be honest, when I'm like see something, like they'll be like, like say I walked outside right now and I was like shot a person that was breaking into my house. And like someone put a video up on that Twitter, they'd be like, "Oh, community notes say people need to know that there's more to this context than this man defending his house. This person was a person of economic, socioeconomic background, lower social. It's just like total
I've
bullshit. Every time
never
I see it,
seen a community
oh,
note like
all the
that.
time, all the time.
I've never
I'll have to
seen a
send you
community
some
note like
next
that.
time. Next time I'm on Twitter and I
We
see
need a
some
fact checker
crazy,
for this
yeah.
discussion, I
When next
think.
time
That
I see
seems
it, I'll
full.
send you one. You're gonna be like, oh my god.
Okay, fair
Oh, and
enough.
like for Warhammer 40K, when people like posted one recently about like tourists in this sport thing, I saw a community note on, oh, this is just a talk. This is a it said this is a politically motivated phrasing as for and I was just like really we're like really getting to the point where we're fact checking 40K and D&D posts now over people's preferences like come on.
I don't know about that.
Community notes
Hmm.
are broken. Like today I saw a tweet where it was a tweet where there's a conspiracy theory that our fruits are fake or something because they're rubbery. And there should be enough community notes to indicate that or to state that it's just an unripe fruit, right? I came across this video and people are saying like a watermelon's rubbery and therefore it's like a Bill Gates conspiracy theory. And the community note that Twitter attached to that, it linked to a study. I looked at the study and it had nothing to do with the topic. It was saying why it was talking about the coloration of fruit, not the texture. And I thought, no one's going to read this study. Why are they even linking to this? I've come across many situations where the community notes don't even reference the topic. And so, I mean, the system's obviously broken. I like the idea of community notes, but they have to figure out how to make it accurate. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, there's a rating system, and I would
yeah,
grant you that it's not perfect, but I think that it's much better than the system that they had before. I think that tonight, to take it back to the debates, yeah, I think you're both right. Depending on what that looks like, I think it could be a great addition to the show, or it could just derail it. So, will they interrupt either of the candidates to fact check them live, or will it simply be something that scrolls across the screen?
yeah.
What or will it be something after everyone's done with their answer
Wait,
that
you think they're going to do it live? They're going to fact check and make, no, Mr. President.
they
Like,
might
dude, no way. There's no way they actually do
they
that. You think
might
they
I've
will?
seen it done before during debates. I've seen it done before during debates.
God, I hope they do that live.
We'll see. I don't know. Like, there's so many different ways that this can go. Um it's just hard to really judge it until I see it.
Mhm.
When it comes to the, I guess, pomp and circumstance around this, what do we think that um going in, who has more to lose here, Biden or Trump?
Mm.
That's a good question. I can see it go both ways, frankly. I think more for Biden. I don't know. Democrats are pretty unified, more unified than Republicans right now. So I think
Are they?
though, if I that's what I've heard. I don't know. They seem to be.
Did you guys
At
not
least,
just see the Jamal Bowman race, right? Like,
well, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I feel like I
But
think
do you
that
think that's because Democrats aren't united?
say one more time.
I
Do you think that's because do you think Bowman lost because Democrats aren't united? Is that the underlying reason
I
why?
think
right.
Bowman lost, and Cori Bush is going to lose because they don't represent their districts very well. I think that's
Yeah,
why.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I was
Oh,
just
and
wanting to
thank
clarify.
you
Yeah, sorry about
for
that.
Stardust. Thank you, Stardust, for the raid. Stardust, hey, you want to join us for the pre-debate show? You can watch it with us if you like. Um, you're invited. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think that the Democratic Party is having a battle right now. I think the Republican Party already had their battle between extremists and moderates. I
Mm.
think that the moderates and the Republican Party simply lost, and now it's run by the extremists. I think the Democrats are currently fighting their extremists. And that's why you see a lot of back and forth between Bowman. And I think that's why you're going to see this repeat when it comes to Cori Bush coming up. And it'll continue on like that. But yeah, the idea that Republicans are more divided than leftists and Democrats are right now. I just entirely disagree with that. And thank you, Stardust, for the
Probably.
raid.
Probably. I do frequent more with Republicans, obviously, so maybe I get the impression that they're more divided than Democrats are. I always hear, and maybe this is just a talking point from Republicans saying the Democrats are united, even behind a man that they don't even agree with or like. Um, Regardless, I still think that Biden may have a little bit more to lose here because he's incumbent, and I think judging by his, again, it all comes down to his health. I think judging by if he comes off as unhealthy here, it's gonna make him look worse than Trump. Just generally. So especially with the rule or there was documentation that was leaked about the status of his health a few months back. Do you guys remember that?
Vaguely,
Yeah,
though.
especially since that leak happened, I think he has a little bit more to lose here. But I don't know. Maybe he'll come out looking more animated than ever. So I could be wrong.
It's Go
I
ahead.
think the Republicans are more united. I think they are more united. I mean, I disagree with Wick's assessment that the extremists won. If anything, Trump's more moderate than. This is what gets me about the left is that the left thinks that Trump's an extremist, right? Is ironic to me because people people that I probably would have voted for, like DeSantis and whatnot, would be, I think, are further right and more extreme than Trump is, right? Like, I mean, do you not remember the DeSantis ad with the funk in the background where they have trans people are for Trump, and then the guy comes yell, Kai Cenat comes and yells psych, and like all the like funk comes popping in, and like that's pretty extreme for a conservative, like as far as conservatives, and so the Dems are all going, oh, the extremist one, and I'm saying Trump's like like a '90s Democrat, like his policies are
Trump is
reminiscent of.
not a '90s
Yeah, he
Democrat.
reminds me of Bill Clinton. Like that's who his Trump policies
You
remind me
are
of.
you are crazy right now. You're
I, I
going
mean,
on a
I mean,
crazy
I don't
train.
think he's that.
Like
I don't
Bill
think he's that.
Clinton,
I think
what?
he's a moderate. He's basically he's a New York Republican. That's a Democrat. Like I like so like when we're sitting here saying like, oh, he's the extremist one. It's just kind of funny to me because I'm like, I don't think you know how extreme this could get if like these people get disenfranchised again with Trump losing, and then they turn to something even more crazy. That's something I think the Dems should be more concerned about.
I just don't agree with you. I think that
Okay.
like we're to a place where I do worry if Trump loses. I do. I do worry, but not because of I don't worry that Republicans will get more extreme. I think they'll try to pull another January 6th. I think that's what's going to happen. But we'll see, right? Hopefully that doesn't happen. I know you guys might disagree, but hopefully from my end that doesn't happen. What topics do you think each is going to want to talk? Like, where do you find Trump being strong topically tonight for the debate, and where do you find Biden having some strength topically when it comes to like the economy, foreign policy, etc.? Right? Who do you think owns each of the sections, if you will?
Well, I do believe that the two main topics of popularity, at least it seems like right now, people are voting on, um, is immigration and abortion. I think for abortion, both Trump is kind of wavering on it. I think Biden is. I do believe Biden's abortion policy is scoring higher with Generation Z, especially. Trump's immigration policy or immigration stance, I believe, is scoring higher with voters. Same with his economic policy. I read a few articles on it recently, so I do believe that's the case. With Biden's newest immigration policy, stopping at like was it 2,500 um migrants. I
I
think he's
forget the
coming
exact
out.
number. Yeah.
I think it was 2,500, but I think he's coming off a little bit more strong on immigration again. So he may have some headway in that over Trump. So, but yeah, immigration, abortion, economy, I think are the three main points that they're going to touch on for the most part. And I think Biden definitely has abortion down. I think Trump is going to have economy down. Immigration's kind of up in the air. So,
What do you think, Gibbs? I'm really curious if you agree with that assessment, disagree. What do you think?
I've said for a while that abortion is the Republicans' public poison pill.
mm,
Um, like Trump was kind of forced into the abortion thing with the Supreme Court's decision on it, and then places like Alabama doing absolute crazy shit, which has forced like his hand, like implementing these laws, like where he's actually been involved. I think his best bet's try to avoid the abortion topic as much as
Do you
possible.
think he
I
there's a chance that he moderates it? Because I look, if I'm Trump's strategist and I'm looking at the general election and I'm looking at how people are voting, I think what I advise Trump to do tonight is to move to the center on the abortion issue and say, you know what? I'm going to oppose these extreme laws in these states. I'm going to lobby against them. I agree that Dobbs' decision should have been overturned. Right? I agree that the Roe v. Wade should have been overturned, but I don't like. I wouldn't support a national abortion ban. I wouldn't support these things. I think that if he does that, I think that he can really steal the thunder from what I feel, and I'd agree with both of you on, is Biden's strongest topic, is abortion. I think that's going to hurt Republicans more than anything coming into this election.
Yeah,
Is
I
their
don't know if
chances
that's the
there?
tactic I would tell him to do per se, but like I definitely think that sometimes taking an L on a topic you know you're not going to win, right? Like because if he like goes out like what you're saying, the problem is he might alienate these needed Christian voters that he needs to galvanize, right? Now, I think he might get
There's
those
no
anyway
there's
because
no way that
I
that
definitely think
group
there
doesn't
is.
vote for him. I don't. There's no way.
I don't know. I feel like that a lot of his thing has been to clean out the swamp. You have a lot of these 4chan, QAnon people who are very much like save the children. Like I'm not saying the conspiracy theorist people are like the major demographic, but there's enough of them it could hurt, right? Especially in swing states. So like I like on that one, maybe just like taking the L and maybe giving non-committal answers. I don't really know what that looks like, but that's definitely the topic he needs to avoid as much as possible.
Well,
Immigration is just such an easy dunk for Trump. Like, there's no way he loses this with the absolute treasonous behavior that Biden has been committing along the board, especially with AMLO's most recent speech after he got out of office, straight up saying that the Biden administration is actively using the DOJ to like enforce weaker border policies in Texas specifically. That's treason. And I think that if he goes and hammers this stuff down, like I think that he will dominate with that. And then the economy, all you got to do is compare gas prices under Trump to what Biden, and he's going to have the average American voter going, "You win." So I think he just needs to avoid abortion as much as possible.
he did come, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he come out a couple months ago? This must have been in April, I think, early April, where he did say he was against the national abortion ban.
I
Um,
think
He
it's the
has.
states' rights, right? Yeah.
He's made some overtures to
uh,
moderating or just basically being wishy-washy when it
yeah.
comes to abortion. And I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
obviously he would have to if he did come out for a national abortion ban. That's game set and match. He just won't win,
it's
right?
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I will agree. Like when it comes to abortion, Trump, because I don't really think this is a policy that he even cares about. And it is a poison pill for the Republican Party, especially since overturning of Roe v. Wade. I think he's just doing what it takes to get votes. I think what he said in April was a good position to take. Even though it upset a lot of his fans, but still it was necessary. Um, but based on Trump's signaling on abortion in the past, especially when he was in office, attending March for Life, or like stating support for March for Life. I don't know. I agree that it's abortion is not his strong suit. He should probably talk about it as little as possible, but
Do
I
we?
I
think
mean,
that's not
Oh, go
possible
ahead,
in this
please.
also,
debate.
Also, I want to add, there's also like breaking news that's like happened in the last 24 hours that like several governors have shared on, Republican governors have shared on with the immigration stuff, on using Biden's policies, right? Like the migrant, this migrant from Haiti that was let out yesterday, on a $500 bail, and ICE doesn't know where this man's at due to the ID requirements in was it Maine or Massachusetts, and this guy's was in jail for sexually assaulting and killing a 15-year-old woman with disability. I think if you use anecdotes like that, I mean,
Yeah.
you're just gonna slam dunk on the immigration. It's just I don't know how you lose the immigration one if you're Trump. Like that, I think that's what he needs to do is focus on things like that, and like then turn right around and be like, if the abortion debate comes up, turn right around and be like, do you think that this woman should be forced to carry? Like, I mean, there's all sorts of things he could do with that if he wants to really play moderate on the abortion debate.
Okay, we are joined by yet another politically savvy, intelligent, handsome young man, Lactoid. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. We are discussing, well, obviously, the Trump and Biden debate tonight. So I guess I'll get you in on the conversation by asking you just straight up, who do you think's favorite to win tonight? Who do you got your money on? Regardless of who you want to win or who you want to vote for, who do you think's gonna pull this one out for a W?
Yeah, I think that I think if Biden is able to maintain his composure and not make any foibles, I think that he'll do pretty well. I think he surprised me by doing a decent job public speaking in the past during his past debates, and also with the State of the Union. I think that the I'm most interested to see how the new rules are going to affect Trump, right? Who is normally known for being this kind of charismatic figure who can jump in and with a quip and entertain the audience. But there's no audience and there's no interrupting, so there's going to be no quips, which is Trump's
Wait,
strong
do you
suit.
think that's gonna
However,
stop him? Honestly,
well, they're going
He's
to
gonna be
cut
loud.
they're going to cut his mic,
Yeah,
right?
but
So
he's close. You don't think they're gonna still hear it through the other guy's mic?
nah, they might hear a little bit in the distance. I don't think they're going to be able to hear it really. I think,
really?
but what this also does is I think it's also, in some regards, a hidden buff for Trump because it's going to prevent a kind of repeat of that terrible debate he had with Biden where he couldn't stop cutting him off and he couldn't stop interrupting him and coming across like a bully. Well, he can't do that now. He can't self sabotage. So I think that if I think it's really going to depend on Biden here. I think if Biden makes any kind of mistake here, I think Trump capitalizes and wins. If Biden does this flawlessly, I think he'll come out ahead.
Interesting. So we've been talking about three. So Daniela here has mentioned that she thinks that the three main topics that they're going to hit on tonight are, or at least that are the most important in the voters' minds, are abortion, immigration, and the economy. How do you think each of these people wins in that? Well, which topic is favored by which candidate? So is Biden strong on the economy? Is Biden weak on the economy? Debate-wise, right? What do you think? Where do you think that goes? And then we'll just open it up again. We've introduced you enough, and we can get back to the back and forth.
Yeah, Trump wins on immigration. I think that he's ranks more favorably in immigration than other candidates, than Biden specifically, but other candidates generally. I think that he pulls ahead on the economy. I think that he's going to do everything he can to stay away from abortion, as he has been recently. This is not the Trump of 2016. This is the new Trump, where he doesn't want to do any kind of national ban. He wants it to be up to the states, and I think that's a very political opinion that he's just recently come into. I also think crime is going to be talked about a lot, and I think that is something that Trump has historically done better on. But I think Biden, if Trump talks about it, I think Biden is going to take that opportunity to call him a criminal and to try to bring up his personal legal troubles as well, to hammer Trump with that. So,
fair enough.
Yeah.
How do we
What
rate
you think?
lactoids?
You think that's what's gonna work? You think that's gonna work? He's not just turn around and be like, your son's a cokehead felon that's sucking hookers' dicks. Like, what is he? He's like, if you couldn't raise a child right well enough to not suck a dick and like have cocaine and guns and all sorts of shit, how do you want us raising the kids in America? Like, I feel like that's a slam dunk. Like,
I don't think
hits him with
so.
that. Like,
I think a lot of Republicans are sort of in this echo chamber when it comes to Hunter Biden, where they care a lot, but the reality is, I don't think a lot of other people care all that much. It's not the president; it's the president's son. A lot of people don't fully understand the charges, which, again, as we saw with the most recent Trump trial, when the public doesn't really fully understand the charges, they just kind of have a general idea of what happened. It's not super convincing to them, right? It's not a point blank, you did this wrong. It's a little bit more nuanced, and so I don't know. I don't think it's going to be super effective.
Thoughts, Daniela? What do you think? If
I think he's right. I don't think the general American really pays attention to those issues, despite what news agencies try to report on or constantly talk about that or the Trump trials. I don't think anyone really pays attention or knows the specifics, and it may be it'll be difficult for them to relate to. He's right. It will only work with Trump's core base, which isn't the majority of Americans. So
I want to say that if Trump brings up Hunter Biden and really goes after that, I think that's an own goal. I think that it hurts him overall. It's mean-spirited. It looks catty. It looks petty, and that just plays into the public's already negative perception of Trump's attitude, right? One of the reasons that he lost in 2020 is because people just don't fucking like Trump. They don't like him personally, right? They think he's a petty, angry, upsetty spaghetti little baby. And that, going after someone's family, he's going to take an L. He just is. And I think
they go after his family all the time.
If Biden goes after his family on the debate stage, Biden loses. That's an L.
I think a much better response, instead of going after Hunter Biden, I think a great quip, and I hope he uses it, is to basically retort by saying, well, at least I was found competent enough to be found guilty, right? Like, look, her report demonstrated that you would have been found guilty, but they just didn't think you were competent enough. How can you prove to the American people that you're competent if you can't even be held responsible for your own actions? You did the same thing I did. That's what Trump should say, and I think that would be much more effective than
or just be really like dismissive and be like, listen, this is coming from a guy that's known to sniff kids, much in the same vein as Dr. Disrespect, and then just like hand wave it. I think that would be the optimal
I will
way.
tell you right now, if either candidate mentions Dr. Disrespect, I will eat my hat. I will I don't know what I'll do. Man, I'll shave my beard. Okay, I will shave my beard if if either candidate mentions Doctor Disrespect tonight. That is not going to happen. It's just not.
Well, we can dream, can't we?
Look, I understand we're all on Twitch poll, we're all on YouTube and stuff, but no one else.
He could say
gives a
Drake
shit,
then.
so.
Drake is normie. He would be like, yeah, well, you sniff kids like Drake. Like either way. Like,
They're not bringing up Drake either. Come on. Who are you talking about? What is going on here? What fantasy world are you living in?
what do you mean? Trump is like at every UFC event. He's taking photos with Sneeko and stuff. Like, I think he's a little more plugged into this world than you think he is.
I would be surprised if Trump could even remember who's taken his picture with or any of that. He just probably did. It happened so much to him that unless it's like
he doesn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even know who Nick Fuentes was when he had his dinner with him, right? So
To be fair, I didn't know who Nick Fuentes was until after.
you didn't? Okay, never mind, I guess. But I don't think Trump is that plugged in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll
He's in his own world. He's a master of his own world,
Which is a pro and a con, to be honest.
Yeah, in many ways.
There's this. I really do think, right, that it's Biden's ball here, right? Like, I think that he has more to gain and more to lose in this debate. I think all Biden has to do is perform like he did, and I repeated this like 2 times now, but it bears repeating a 3rd time. State of the Union. I think after the State of the Union, he got a bump. I think that if he does that again, it will just reinforce the idea that he isn't cognitively declining, he isn't unstable, and he's still able to go at it, right? And it gives a lot of ammo to Biden's side, to my side, to say, oh, Trump, oh, you're calling Biden old? Well, you couldn't even beat him in a debate. So, I mean, his old ass is able to take yours to school all day, every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just really, it really is a slam dunk. Now, that said, if Biden does freeze up, stutter, look like he doesn't know what's going on, if he has more than maybe one of those moments, that's it. That's ball game. I don't think he recovers from that. I think that's just it. I don't know.
Especially if the timing is like really like perfect, right? Like let's say Trump brings up the Her report, and then in response to that, Biden fumbles and doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
That's gonna hit really hard.
That's it.
The debate's over after that.
Yeah, they're gonna clip that, like, that whatever minute segment, and it's gonna be all over every advertisement.
Every
that Trump's
news
putting out.
organization will cover it. Everything.
I mean, you say that, but like, I mean, so what? Trump had that recent gaffe where he said he like messed up the doctor that gave him his, a test. And
yes, he got the doctor's name wrong.
Yeah, but I don't remember what the doctor's name was, but it was like Johnson, and he said like Jackson or something, and I was like, oh wow, he got the middle part wrong, like Jackson Johnson.
But he has a lot of these gaffes.
I've seen that on attack ads, Gibbs, already. Right?
I know, it's really pathetic though, because like I couldn't even tell you. I'll be like, oh yeah, Bob Sanderson. They're like, you mean Anderson? I'm like, yeah, Sasserson. And they're like, like whatever. And just like people, like who remembers people's names? Like I like, especially when you meet 1,000 of them like every day. Like you can't remember everybody's names. That's just like a weak gaffe, as opposed to like Biden not being able to like come up with like a major plan or something that was like wrote.
A major plan?
Story.
What are you even talking about right
like,
now?
I'm talking about like a bill. Like say they bring up a bill that he was sponsored on back in the day, like the crime bill, and Biden's like, oh, I didn't have anything to do with the crime bill, and like that's just been a big thing. Like something like that would be much worse or much more egregious than a name mess up.
300 bits from Feder Methodist to say, just got here. This better not suck. My girlfriend was going to give me an exfoliation treatment with a cheese grater, but here I am. Well, welcome here. And gang, remember, if you are enjoying this content, if you like this, super chats, gifted subs, all of it helps. Hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. In about 20 minutes, the debate's going to start, gang. We are going to, at that time, migrate from YouTube and Twitch over to Kick. I'll be providing those links a little later. Sansol will be joining us, and he'll be streaming it for us, and we will watch it together, and it will be great. If you, dear audience, have comments or questions during the debate, please don't hesitate to speak up, and we'll try to get to them as we can. even though our focus will be, of course, on watching the debate. But after the debate, we have Adam Mockler coming on. We have Econo Boy that'll be here, and it should be a rollicking time. What about foreign policy? Like, we've talked a lot about domestic policy tonight. Who do you think wins when it comes to foreign policy, if that comes up? What do we think, gang?
I think Trump wins.
Yeah, especially with the Gaza Israeli issue. I think Trump wins for sure.
Really? Okay.
And
Yeah.
Ukraine. Trump is going to
Yeah.
say, "Look, you call me, a Russian shill. You get elected, and then Russia takes the advantage, takes the opportunity to invade. They would have never invaded under me. Look how good I am, right? That's what he's going to say, and it's gonna resonate because people. I don't think people remember the Trump era as having so many new conflicts rise up as in the post-pandemic era.
Well, I think Biden's response to that, what it should be, right, is, yeah, we had all these conflicts because you did nothing during your term. Do nothing, Trump. You had your chance to nip these in the bud. You had your chance if you had exercised Americans' power and military might, but instead you let it decline. You isolated us, and now look at what the world's become. And we, the grown-ups, are left to pick up after your mess. I think that's the response. I think that resonates way better with the public.
It doesn't because he'll bring up his because during his presidency, he boosted the military budget. Like the boost itself was more than the UK's entire military budget, right? Like Trump absolutely boosted up defense spending, and he's going to say, "I did this. That's why there was peace." Biden comes in, defunds our military, and then this happens. That's going to be his response to that.
I mean, not only that, he could turn to things like, "Oh, I had a plan to leave Afghanistan. You had a quagmire, right?" Like, and turn to things like the Afghanistan. He could be like, "You bashed me with North Korea, but North Korea wouldn't be doing half the stuff they're doing. After I, gave Kim Jong Un the hands when I met with him in person. Like remember salami? He got turned into salami. Like, I mean, there's plenty of these things that Trump's gonna be able to turn right around and say, like, he's like, "Oh, Iran. The reason why Iran and Hamas and all these people are doing what they're doing is because you over here with limp dick foreign policy." I mean, I feel like I don't know what foreign policy Biden would win on. Like, I can't think of a single one.
Israel, Palestine, and Ukraine, both. I think he takes the dub here. I think that he is much better positioned.
Really?
Ask me what you're smoking right now.
What, you don't think he wins on Ukraine?
Biden doesn't even win on Afghanistan, right? Even though it's more complicated, what's Trump going to say? I would have done the pullout better. I would have done it more secure.
I didn't.
The tragedy never would have happened.
I do think
Nobody
that debate-wise, right? I think that Trump will win on Afghanistan. But I think Ukraine-wise, I think that, again, most Americans want us to do more for Ukraine and help Ukraine out. I really do believe that. And I think that Trump and the Republicans, right, failing to fund Ukraine or being very, like Mike Johnson, really just kind of being iffy and wishy-washy. I think that Biden hangs that around Trump's neck, right, and say, this is your party. This is who you represent. This is who you're the head of. And they have been pussyfooting around in Ukraine. People are dying. Sir, that's on you, right? I think he absolutely goes that route. And again, I just think he wins in that. So, yeah.
Well, the thing that Trump has been saying, especially on the campaign trail, is that if he was stayed in office, none of this would have happened anyway, though. I feel like he would just come around and say, well, my relationship with Putin prevented this from even happening. If I stayed in office, it wouldn't even have happened. So, I mean, whether or not that's true, that's a different conversation.
Sure.
But I feel like that's
We're
just the
talking
first thing
debate
he's going to say.
tactics, right? We're
Yeah,
not talking
yeah.
like actual truth. President Scum Day, and their viewers just arrived. How's the Jew hating going, you misogynist fuck? How's it going, sir? I hope you're doing well. I could smell you when you came in. But let's continue.
Just tell him that mustard is an interesting choice for a shirt right after you got told his last shirt was diarrhea color.
Are hate rates not banned on YouTube?
I don't know.
I know Twitch is like super.
I welcome his little minions, okay? Parallax for 200 bits. Biden wins on Afghanistan. Trump had removed 10,500 of the total 13,000 soldiers in Afghanistan before Biden ever entered office. Afghanistan is a trap for Trump if Biden is ready. And that's true, right? Like, it's easy for us to give best case scenario, best case answers. But Biden and Trump kind of hate each other, right? And when you're in the hot seat and when you're there, it's hard to give perfect answers. It's hard to give perfect responses. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm very curious. And once again, in about 15 minutes, we'll be moving over to Kick to watch the debate proper. So let's go and see how that. But what do we think that there's any kind of dark horse topic that's come up that we haven't talked about yet? Anything besides the economy, besides foreign policy, besides immigration, besides abortion? What might get talked about that is kind of like a dark horse that no one else is talking about? Go ahead.
That no one else is. I mean, something that you didn't mention in there was
Sure,
the January 6th stuff. I mean,
You
that's
think
going to
that's
come
going to
up.
be a big portion of the debate?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, Biden should bring that up. If he doesn't, I think that's a missed opportunity because, again, like that's something that Americans generally didn't like. And so, if you know that you can tie your opponent to it, why would you not bring it up? It seems like a missed opportunity.
I'll tell you, I think what's going to be a missed opportunity for the Biden campaign, and this is ironic since we just had a cross between Jeffrey Dahmer and Jeffrey Epstein Rager channel on YouTube, but I think Epstein list is something I'm surprised that hasn't come up yet more in this stuff, and I think maybe the fact that Biden could say, hey, we can unequivocally tie you to this. There's a large segment of Republicans that are pretty pissed about the Epstein list, and I think that reminding them that Trump is on there might actually hurt his chances. But I feel like we've all forgotten about the Epstein list, because he didn't kill himself, and somehow the list has disappeared.
Epstein is not getting brought up during
No,
the
it's
debate.
not. But you said things that probably won't going to come up, like dark horses, and I think that would
Epstein
be
won't
one
come up. Dr. Disrespect won't come up. And Drake won't come up. They're just not.
I'm giving Biden the plan to win. This is how he wins if he really wants to win. But no, I'm not on his campaign staff for a reason.
So, but I do think crime, right? You did mention crime earlier. I think that Biden wins on the crime debate. I think Biden can point to record lows in crime. I think that he can absolutely own that. And while there are some pitfalls and some traps that might be coming up in there, I think that when it comes to crime, I think Biden is positioned to win that back and forth. 200 bits from Parallax to say, can't help but notice all three conservatives sat silently as he absorbed the facts on Afghanistan. Tell Lactoid I'll count that as 3 more steps to Lactoid heaven. Don't know what the last part means, but there you go.
If you win debates, you get closer to heaven.
Is that how it works? Okay.
That's how it works. Yeah.
How close am I to Lactoid heaven? I'm just curious.
You could change some opinions. I think you could get pretty close, Wick. You're
Fair enough.
I think the crime. Look, Biden's going to talk about the recent decrease in crime, and there's some reasons why crime has been decreasing recently. Employment's been up, which is going to correlate with lower crime, and things are sort of returning to normalcy after the pandemic. He has not been by any means an anti-police president, right? Like that was one of the things that I think people were concerned about. But when he got into power, I mean, it's just not what he's about. He's actually
he's pretty tough on crime, actually.
Yeah, I mean, both Trump and Biden. I mean, I thought I was talking to some people earlier. It's kind of funny. I mean, both Trump and Biden are pro-police and pro-Israel, which are two major concerns for young people, especially Biden's young demographics. And so, in a way, I almost think as though some of Biden's defenses and some of his talking points aren't going to really resonate as much with his own base as he might want them to, right? When the topic of Israel comes up, yeah, like when the topic of Israel comes up, Trump's going to be yelling about how he's the best person for Israel, and then Biden's going to be talking about Israel, but he's not going to be able to be as enthusiastic because a large part of his voter base, they're not in favor of Israel right now. I think it's the same thing when it comes to policing, right? Trump, all about police, all about police, all about police. Biden, he's going to hint at the fact that he's okay with police and he cares about crime, but he's got to be careful. He's got to tread that line carefully.
I don't agree. I agree with the first part. I think he absolutely will be less vocally supportive of Israel, and he will probably be more wishy-washy, if you will, but that will play with his base, actually. Look, the portion of the left who's Genocide Joe, those people, they're not voting Democrat no matter what. They're gone. They don't vote really at all. They don't matter, right? They don't matter, right? And so we don't have to placate them. I mean, Bowman is a good example of why they don't matter. Bowman couldn't carry his seat. An incumbent, lost by almost 20 fucking points. That's unheard of in modern politics. So yeah, they're done. They're cooked. And in fact, I don't think he has to placate them at all. And that's why I think he's just going to go strong on the police. And he'll just be like, no, we're tough on crime. I'm pro police. And that's a good thing, actually. And I don't think he pulls any punches there. But we'll see, right? What do the rest of you think on this?
I think Trump is definitely going to line the crime issue, align it with immigration, and try to hit that over with Biden. He's going to bring up I have my money on the table that he's going to bring up individual cases like with the rapes and killings that's recently happened with like Lake and Riley and others. He's going to bring those up to pull on the heartstrings of Americans because they are tragic cases, and he's going to tie that with immigration and try to bludgeon Biden with that.
I mean, in addition to that, like even if it's one anecdotal example, right? That's one anecdotal of a non-citizen killing an American citizen, right, or
Mhm.
whatever. And the American government's duty, first and foremost, is the duty to its American
Mm.
citizens. So not only is it just like from the heartstrings, it's going to make people angry. And then when you combine this with the crime, okay, crime is down, I guess. But if you started including like the mass immigration and added all those to like just crime stats, I think that changes the crime statistics quite a bit. And I don't see how he can win on this whenever you see places like Austin booming because people are flooding out of like San Francisco and Los Angeles due to specifically crime. Crime might be overall down in some areas, and most areas are nationwide, but however, the areas where crime is affecting seems to be directly tied to Democrat push policies. And I think that's going to hurt him quite a bit.
Well, what I think that Biden should do, and I think that he's going to, if he's wise, do, is distance themselves from the extreme, right? I think that I think 2022 and this recent spat of primaries have shown us that the electorate does not like extremists. They just don't. And so if Biden is wise, he simply distances himself from that and he runs away from that and he tacks to the center. And I think he will, and I think that will be electorally advantageous. All Biden has to do, right, is paint himself as the moderate choice here. Everyone thinks that Trump is extreme, whether he is or not. That's what everyone sees Trump as. Trump is an extremist. All Biden has to do is paint himself as not that, and I think that he wins, just straight up. Now, will he be able to do that? That's the question. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, Trump needs to like I said initially, he needs to wind back. If he winds back, if he controls himself, has some decorum, I think he has more chance of winning, but you're right. Biden's going to try to look like the more of the normal candidate here. Um, and if he can accomplish that and if he looks competent, he probably has a greater chance of winning. But I don't know. I feel like it's Trump's temperament versus Biden's competency or mental comprehension is at war
Well,
here.
that's the thing. So we got 10 minutes, gang, before it's time, a little less. So what we're gonna do now is I'm going to give everyone a link to my kick, and oh, there you go. Unfortunately, this kick link, it doesn't allow anti-Semites to click on it. So if you try to click on it as an anti-Semite, you're not going to be able to get there, okay? But those who aren't an anti-Semitic, they can click on it and they can get there, okay? So sorry, Sunday viewers, it's not for you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to provide that link both in the Kick chat or the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat. You can click on that link and gather there. And what we're going to do is we're going to phase these out. We will be back after the debate on YouTube and Twitch. But here you go. Give me 1 second. Let me give you that link. Hold on. Hold your horses, gang. Someone fill the time while I mess with this. So.
Danielle, do you think they're gonna bring up? Do you think Trump is gonna bring up drugs? Like Biden, I think you're on drugs. You think that's gonna happen?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he's the one. I was going to ask you guys what you thought about the Trump challenging Biden to submit a drug test.
Yeah, he said that already, right? He said like, "I'll take one if you take one." I
Yeah,
wonder if
he
he
did.
brings that during the debate, though. That'll be interesting.
I think well, I don't know. It's not going to make him look good, I don't think, but I think Trump's going to try to do that low blow. Especially if Biden acts a certain way, you know what I mean? Maybe if like Biden has a lot of energy, he may bring it up like, are you on stimulants. He already, I think he even wrote on Truth Social that he expects Biden to be on a cocktail of stimulants. So we'll
Where
see.
is this? What this cocktail of stimulants? Why is it right that we don't have this just for everyone? Right? What is this mysterious cocktail that only the president has access to? Apparently,
Not only the president, also the president's son.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I think they might be on a
weird.
different cocktail stimulants. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. A few less hookers in Biden's diet.
Okay, I've given you the links both in YouTube and in Twitch, so I'm going to be ending those streams, and we will be transitioning to Kick by and of itself. So give me 1 second, and then Sonsol, if you're listening, just jump backstage. I'll pull you in.